Okay, today we'll give you an introduction to Macau as a creative city of gastronomy. Um, First of all, this is kind of my index for today. I'll briefly talk about an overview of how Macau looks like nowadays, what it is all about, and then obviously I'd like to also talk about the two UNESCO name cards that now Macau has. Then I'll go into a little bit about the heritage protection and also the intangible cultural heritage that we are also very keen to preserve in Macau. And besides that, obviously, we'll go more into detail about the creative city of gastronomy, the work plan, so what we have done so far, and some thoughts about going forwards into the future. And obviously, there will be a Q&A session at the end. Well, first of all, an overview about Macau. Macau Special Administrative Region of the People's Republic of China obviously is located on the southern coast of China. It's to the west of Hong Kong, about 60 kilometers away from Hong Kong. And we are right now we are joined to Hong Kong both by boat, on the sea, and also there is a new bridge which was inaugurated about 3 years ago, which links Macau to Hong Kong. So on the bridge, we're talking about 45 minutes traveling on the bridge, and then we will be in Hong Kong. So it is becoming a very, very close network altogether. And we also belong to what we call the Guangdong, Hong Kong, Macau Greater Bay Area. Let me just explain a little bit more about this idea of the Greater Bay. A couple of years ago, within the mainland, obviously there is a new policy to develop this, what we call Guangdong, Hong Kong, Macau Greater Bay Area into one integrated region. So we're talking about Hong Kong Special Administrative Region, Macau Special Administrative Region, and then 9 cities in what we always normally refer to as the Pearl River Delta. So we're talking about Zhuhai City, Zhongshan City, Jiangmen City, Zhaoqing City, Foshan City, Guangzhou City, Dongguan City, Huizhou City, and also Shenzhen City. These 9 cities within the Guangdong province, plus Hong Kong and Macau, will constitute what we now call the Greater Bay Area of Guangdong, Hong Kong, and Macau. So this is a new development region, which obviously there are new policies coming into the region. We're trying to make this region more integrated, more easy in terms of traveling, and also in not only in tourism, but also in all different kinds of aspects. So there are quite a lot of workings together, or there are a lot of collaborations now that we can have or enjoy within this particular area. And obviously, just in September this year, we have a new policy in terms of Macau and one little island within Zhuhai City, which is called Hengqin, which also obviously is linked to Macau by a bridge. And in that particular area, there is a new development, what we call a closed development region together with Macau. And we are right now working on, making this particular area a more freely I would say, accessed area in order to have more close development together with Macau. So maybe you will see in the future a lot more developments between Macau and also Hengqin area within Zhuhai City, and also a lot of more policies coming into, I would say, favorable policies coming into this region. Macau is very, very small. Altogether, even with all the land reclamation, we only have a total land area of 30.5 square kilometers. This is Macau Peninsula. This is the oldest development within the entire Macau SAR. So right now, with all the land reclamations it's still less than 10 square kilometers. Then we have what used to be called Taipa Island and Kulawan Island here. And in the middle is an area which we call Kotai, the land between Kulawan and Taipa. So these various areas, including their land reclamation right now, is kind of like Taipa is about 7.6 square kilometers. Kotai area is about 6 square kilometers. And Kulawan, what used to be an island, is about 7.6 square kilometers. So this is kind of what constitutes Macau nowadays. And what I've been talking about, the area of Hengqin is here, which is just opposite to Macau, linked to Macau by bridge. And we're enjoying new policies there and also working together with them more closely. And within this area of Hengqin, there is an area of Macau. There is an area of Hengqin which is also being administered directly under Macau Special Administrative Region. This is what we call the University of Macau campus. So it's about 1 square kilometer altogether, and it's a completely new area that we have just developed since a couple of years ago. So I would say that, nowadays students studying in the University of Macau are very privileged because they have a completely new piece of land there. All the buildings are new and all the equipments there are new. So it's a very nice place for students to enjoy their, at their campus life. Our population right now is about 682,000 people in Macau. So you can imagine the amount of I would say the density of the population in Macau. In terms of just a little bit about our history. Macau used to be a fisherman's, I would say a fishing village. So we had fishermen from Fujian and also farmers from Guangdong, which were kind of like the oldest settlers in Macau. So this is kind of like the trading gate between China and outside of China back in the old days. And in the 1550s, the Portuguese people, during their great discovery period, came to Macau. That at that point in time was still called Old Moon, and after that, when they settled here, obviously history has it that gradually this became a major trading port between the East and the West. And Macau was also a very important stopover for missionaries, some writers or artists, even from the West, also finally decided to settle in Macau, and that's why Macau became a very good ground to breed, amalgamation of different cultures. And that's why the city itself is still a very open-minded city nowadays. We still have many different nationalities living in Macau in a very harmonious way. We don't look on people as ourselves or not ourselves, or not people belonging here. It is a very big melting pot altogether. And so that's why the city has developed over the years into what it is now. In terms of policy, both the central government and also ourselves, we look on trying to develop Macau into a world center of tourism and leisure in order to build up world-class a tourism industry, and also to develop different things that relates to tourism. A little bit about the tourism situation. Obviously, those who are in the industry know that the last 2 years, because of the COVID-19 pandemic, has been very, very difficult for all of us. And but still, we try to, as much as possible, work on the situation. And as you can see, we have actually enjoyed many, many years of very good fortune and very, very good results in terms of tourism. 1995 was the year when our airport was inaugurated. That also gave a lot of good possibilities for us to develop tourism. 1999, Macau returned to China. And then in the year 2002, the entire, I would say the entire industry in Macau was greatly changed, because in that particular year, the government decided to liberalize the gaming industry. We used to have a monopoly in terms of gaming, but as of 2002, we have now a few more companies. So altogether, there are 6 different companies who are in the gaming area in Macau. And nowadays, where the latest, because the contracts for the gaming industry are coming to an end next year. So that's why there's a lot of talk right now, a lot of speculation right now on what will happen next year with the new, because I think the government is looking at new ways of managing the gaming industry as well. So everybody is waiting to see what will be the new laws and new policies that will be in place. And then in the year 2003, another very important milestone came about after the SARS epidemic, I would say, because mainland China decided to start with a new policy called the Individual Visit Scheme, both for Hong Kong and for Macau. back in the old days, for individuals traveling out from mainland China, they have to be either in tour groups or else in, well, say for business purposes or for visiting family or relatives. But in the year 2003, after the SARS epidemic, the mainland China central government decided to relax that and introduce this, what we call the IVS scheme. And with that, obviously, nowadays you will see a lot of individual travelers from mainland China traveling all around the world. So this was when it actually started. And of course, in the year 2005, Macau's historic center got inscribed on the UNESCO World Heritage List. So that was our first, I would say, very important, calling card, or our first very important recognition by an international organization in terms of what the heritage preservation work has been. So obviously, in the year 2008, we decided to also revamp the visitor arrival figures reporting system. And then in the year 2017, Macau was designated as a UNESCO City of Gastronomy. Just to talk a little bit about the new visitor arrival reporting procedure. Before 2007, for those people who come into Macau with a foreign document, meaning to say, even if you're a student studying in Macau or if you are a foreign worker in Macau, you are still counted as a visitor. However, back in the old days, there were, these numbers are very, very small. But then it grew to a point where the numbers become more and more significant, because we see that a lot of non-resident workers are actually living across the border in Zhuhai because of the lower cost of living. So that's why these numbers have to be separated. And that's why in the year 2008, starting that year, you see two different graphs coming out, because this graph is, actually counts everybody who comes in with a non-local document. So these are not residents. However, the lower line here is actually what we use nowadays in terms of tourism figures reporting, because these would already have taken out students as well as non-resident workers. So you can see that, until the year 2019, we actually enjoyed very, very good numbers in terms of tourism, from 7 million back in 1995 to 39.4 million in the year 2019. And that was actually the best year before the pandemic. After the pandemic, obviously, I would believe that even in Thailand, all over the world, actually, the numbers have dropped very drastically. And we're still in a very difficult situation trying to recover. And I don't think that we will be recovering anytime soon due to even the current situation with the Omicron strain or other kinds of developments with the pandemic. So as you can see, in 2020, only 5.9 million, even less than before the handover or before our airport opened. And I must also say that why we were able to achieve 5.9 million last year was because we had 3 million achieved in January last year, because that was before the pandemic hit. So as you will see that, basically it is a very, very difficult situation last year. So we had 3 million in January, and then only about 2.9 million for the other 11 months of the year. So it was a very difficult situation. Last year, we also, out of the 5.9 million, about 2.8 million stayed overnight in Macau. So it's about half of them. And then we had, but for hotel overnight guests, there were about 3.87 million. Why? Because we also decided to, I would say, encourage local people to stay in hotels. And at one point in time, because a lot of non-resident workers, they were not able to travel across the border to Zhuhai, they were forced or they were required to actually stay in Macau. And so these people also, some of them used the lower end hotels in order to stay inside as well. So it's a very, very difficult situation for most businesses. This year, slightly better. So we are in up to October, about 6.6 1.08 million, so slightly better than last year. And an average length of stay for all visitors is about 1.6 days. But if you can see, for those people who actually decided to stay overnight, what has actually increased compared to before is the average length of stay. So now we are already seeing visitors, these are visitor numbers, visitors staying more than 3 days in Macau, which was unheard of before the pandemic. So one different trend which we're seeing nowadays with the pandemic is that people tend to stay longer in one place because it is not easy to travel, and there are not many places that they can travel anyways. So I believe that everybody treasures the possibility to travel, and that's why they would decide to actually stay longer in any destination that they are able to travel to. So that is something, a new kind of development which we have seen. This year, hotel overnight guests has improved quite a lot because we continue to encourage local people to use our hotels and to support the local economy in that sense. So I think that at least this reflects in the numbers. I talked about the 2 UNESCO name cards before, but let me go into a little bit more detail. So first, obviously the first UNESCO name card is in terms of heritage. Our historic center has become World Heritage since 2005. And then the Creative City of Gastronomy designation came in 2017 after, I would say 2 years of very hard work in terms of our candidate, putting forward the application. So let's talk about World Heritage first. In terms of World Heritage, we don't use just one monument to candidate and to get into the UNESCO historic, World Heritage list. We actually use a whole area of what we call the Historic Center of Macau. So the Historic Center of Macau was listed officially as UNESCO World Heritage in July, in the middle of July 2005. And within the entire context of China, it is the 31st World Heritage Site listed by UNESCO within the entire China. So the Historic Center of Macau comprises of 25 different sites added together as one particular area altogether as the Historic Center. So it is where the old or where the original Macau residents lived, and also when the Portuguese came to Macau, the areas where they settled and where they worked or where they moved around. So you can see that basically it's the idea is really to make this part of our history a very important area which we would like to preserve and which we would like to also let more people know about. So it would comprise of different kinds of buildings, Chinese temples, Western piazzas, or even Portuguese old buildings, and a lot of different kinds of areas which historically are kind of like are a testimony to the old Macau, if you'd like to call it that way. And when we were able to get this historic center being listed as World Heritage, the government decided, these are the 25 different areas which are within the historic center of Macau. As you can see, different churches, temples, all sorts of different kinds of things that belong to this historic center of Macau being listed all as World Heritage. And when the government was able to get our historic center listed, then we decided to make a very important promotion of the World Heritage, because on one side we want the local population to be proud of World Heritage, so that they will also like or love our World Heritage, our history, our culture, and they will also pass down, help to pass down this kind of feeling or this very important message to our young ones, and then in the future to their children as well. And also on the other side, we want to let the world also know that Macau has this World Heritage. So in the year after the Historic Center was listed, this government decided to launch what we call World Heritage Year in the year 2006. And so we did a lot of travel fairs, road shows, different kinds of guidebooks, all different kinds of heritage routes and all that. At that point in time, we didn't, internet or the or social platforms are not really there yet. So that's why, we did use a lot of different kinds of offline promotions, or if you'd like to call that. Then in the year 2017, the world was different, so Macau was designated as Creative City of Gastronomy in October of 2017. And after that, we decided to do also 2018 as a gastronomy year for Macau. But then, obviously, at that point in time, we're able to use the internet a lot more easily, and also a lot of different social platforms in order to promote this new important milestone for Macau. So as you can see, a lot of work was also done. Oops. Okay. So those are the two, I would say, important, UNESCO name cards that we are very proud of, and we believe that with those two name cards, Macau has been recognized internationally in terms of our heritage, in terms of our culture, and that's why it is very important to have different other complementary work in order to continue to be able to make cultural heritage preservation an inherent part of what Macau's government work or our layman's work will be. So in the year 2014, the government also passed a new cultural heritage protection law, and this, I must say, it is a very, very strict law in terms of particularly preserving the buildings, preserving the old heritage, not only buildings themselves, but also old trees, old precincts, old cultures, and all that. So, as we say, the cultural heritage protection law gives the government a very, very important tool in terms of promoting and ensuring that the cultural heritage is being preserved. So and the main idea is, obviously the main mission is also, one of the main missions is to also make sure that everybody in Macau has access and they can share in the cultural heritage of Macau, and it can be passed down to different generations. And also this will become the common cultural identity going forwards. Plus also this will contribute to the social and economic well-being and quality of life for Macau, and definitely help to defend environmentally the landscape quality of Macau as they are. So this law is a very, very important law, and also it gives a lot of possibilities for both the government and the private sector to help and work together to preserve cultural heritage. So as we say, it gives voice to the heritage campaigns. So nowadays everybody in Macau is very, very concerned or very, very aware of the importance of protecting our old buildings, our old cultures, our intangible cultural heritage and all that. And also, in terms of, it not only preserves the buildings themselves, but also there are what we call buffer areas, which are also restricted in terms of what you can build or what you can do, or what kinds of, even what kinds of advertising signs, if you can put up or not. So this will give the city a much better, outlook, not just allowing the commercial sector to take over all different parts of the city. It actually gives, I would say, a lot of breathing space to cultural heritage, and helps to, helps in a very, very big way in terms of preserving our culture. Besides the heritage law, we also work together very, very specifically to preserve the intangible cultural heritage of Macau. And these can be festivities, these can be ways of worship, these can be also different craftsmanship, which, say, for example, the making of these, I would say, religious figures. These are also craftsmanship being noted as intangible heritage. In Macau, we also adopt the UNESCO Convention for Safeguarding Intangible Cultural Heritage since 2003. And so that's why, as we say, we don't only protect buildings, we don't only protect physical matters, we also protect craftsmanship, we also protect performing arts, we also protect religious or social practices, even rituals, festivities, because we want them to continue to be able to pass down, to the different generations. Right now, we do have an inventory of intangible cultural heritage. Means these are not the listed ones, but at least they are. There is an inventory of possible, possible intangible heritage which can be listed. And then the ones listed are already 12 of them, and also very, very happy to say that 11 of these listed intangible cultural heritage for Macau have also been listed on the National Intangible Cultural Heritage list of China. So this definitely helps us to make sure that the local population and also those who come into Macau, either visitors or otherwise, can understand that these are valuable treasures for Macau. A list of the intangible cultural heritage of Macau. As you can see, one area is Macanese gastronomy. So you can see music, opera, all different kinds. But very importantly, last year, Macanese gastronomy, this year, Macanese gastronomy was also listed by China as their intangible cultural heritage as well. So you can see that the way of cooking, the way how our locals love to eat our food or love to enjoy our food, or what our food stands for, is also being preserved as intangible cultural heritage, which is a very, very important part of our work in terms of Macau as a city of gastronomy, because we feel that gastronomy is not just about eating good food. Gastronomy is also part of the culture, part of the heritage, and also part of the things that we want to pass down to different generations. Let me now talk a little bit more about the Creative City of Gastronomy. So the Creative City, UNESCO's Creative Cities Network, you've heard from other cities today. So you would understand that the UCCN, the UNESCO Creative Cities Network, was actually created in 2004 to help promote cooperation among cities which have identified creativity as a strategic factor for sustainable urban development. In the UNESCO context, there are 7 different creative fields. So they can be arts and crafts and folk arts, media arts, film, design, gastronomy, literature, or music. Right now, obviously, every city you are able to candidate for once. I would say for one area. So it is. So that's why for Macau, we believe that our gastronomy is such an important factor of our heritage that finally the city decided to use gastronomy in order to candidate ourselves to join the UNESCO's Creative Cities Network. And we're very happy to say that we have been successful as of the 31st of October of 2017. Currently, the entire network, after the new cities being listed this year, are altogether 295 creative cities from 90 countries all around the world. 49 cities are in the gastronomy area. So you would see that out of the 7 fields, gastronomy is indeed quite a very important field of creativity in the entire network. I would say that by joining the network, what we have pledged to commit to UNESCO is that we want to strengthen the creation, production, and also distribution, and also dissemination of cultural activities, goods and services. We also pledge to develop hubs of creativity and innovation. We also pledge to improve access to and also participation in cultural life for all different groups, including those who are being marginalized or those who are termed as vulnerable groups or individuals. And also, we also pledge to UNESCO that we will fully integrate culture and creativity into our sustainable development plans. And also, we've pledged to make sure that we are in line with the goals of the UCCN, which is to implement the United Nations 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. Well, I think these are very familiarized to all of you, the United Nations 2030 Agenda. Whenever we are planning work within the context of the Macau as a creative city of gastronomy, we always remind ourselves of the importance to make sure that these goals also align with the 17 SDGs or Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations, to make sure that at least every activity or every measure that we put into place will be able to also be in line with or be able to answer to any one of the 17 different goals. And I would be very happy to say that, with the Macau Creative City of Gastronomy, our first work plan, for our first 4-year work plan, we were able to, I would say, address a lot of these goals. The overall goal for Macau Creative City of Gastronomy work plan for the first 4 years actually looks upon inheritance, exchange, and also innovation to make sure that we are able to use gastronomy as an element with its own features, especially highlighting the coexistence of different cultures. And during the last 4 years, we have actually done a lot of, I must say, a lot of plans, a lot of work being done, many different areas. It's not necessarily only the cooking part, but also a lot of things that we are utilizing gastronomy as a leading factor, but it was able to instill creativity in many areas which are not only gastronomy. And I'm happy to report that because of the first 4-year work plan, to one degree or another, some more, some less, we're able to touch at least a little bit of all the 17 different goals of the United Nations 2030 Sustainable Development Agenda. So, obviously, depending on the nature of the different city, depending on the kind of work or the kind of program we engage in, obviously to a bigger or smaller extent, different goals are being realized. We can't say that every goal is being realized to the full, but at least we've made an effort to make sure that all our work is aligned to some or many of these different goals. The first 4-year work plan covers 6 areas. First of all, we set up a management and supervision mechanism. Secondly, we try to enhance promotion and awareness. And thirdly, we find that education and inheritance is a very important part of the passing down of the gastronomy culture. And fourthly, there is a lot of exchange and cooperation, which happened during the last 4 years. We also looked into ways to support the development of the local catering industry. And finally, a more difficult part, which we are still trying to learn how to do better, is how to make sure that there are cross-field cooperation in the creative industries. It's not just gastronomy working with gastronomy. It can be gastronomy working with design, gastronomy working with film, gastronomy working with music, and other kinds of creative fields. So we are trying very hard to make sure that there are such possibilities being done. Let me go into more detail for each area. In the management and supervision mechanism, we have now make it quite regular and at least one annual work meeting of a lot of representatives, which we gather together, government representatives, academic institutes, industry delegates. Some of them are directly engaged in cooking, others in the hospitality industry, or others which are related to gastronomy. So all these we do have every year at least one big meeting where everybody will be able to relook at the plan, relook at different works being done, and critique, and also give good new ideas, and also make sure that our goals are being achieved, or the work is being implemented to a satisfactory extent. So this is a very useful management and supervision mechanism. It brings together government, academia, as well as the private sector. And in this way, we do find that there are very good ideas being bounced around, very good new ways to kind of push ourselves, to achieve more than we started to, more than what we're thinking when we started. So this management and supervision mechanism will still continue into the future, although we've submitted already our first report. But this kind of very important mechanism needs to continue, because we need always somebody to be able to critique the work being done. Second area, in terms of enhancement of promotion and awareness, a lot of has been done in this part. We've done a lot of social media programs, food truck promotions, roadshows, festivals, food festivals. We also hosted international award presentations. Plus, also, we are now every year very, very keen on our promotion of what we call Sustainable Gastronomy Day. This is also another day on the 18th of June every year, which has been designated by United Nations as Sustainable Gastronomy Day. So it's a very important celebration, or a very important reminder of how we should treat gastronomy, how we should also make sure that the world is sustainable. So just to give you some ideas, so through social media platforms, we have set up a Macau gastronomy website to promote the Creative City of Gastronomy. We'll also launch in 2018 what we call a Gastronomy Map. The Gastronomy Map actually puts together what key opinion leaders recommend in terms of where to eat or how to enjoy your food in Macau. So these are ways where we're utilizing social media platforms. As you can see, we are also using different food trucks, Macau food trucks in different parts of the world. We've been in Thailand, in Bangkok, we've been in Los Angeles, we've been in Sydney, Australia. We've been basically all over the world utilizing food trucks, not only to promote the food, but also to make sure that people, apart from enjoying the cuisine, they also understand that there is a heritage, there is a culture behind Macanese food. So altogether, we've done already 21 of these kinds of promotions all around the world since 2017. Oh, obviously, in the last couple of years, 2020, 2021, unfortunately, we're not able to carry on because of the pandemic, but we're looking forward to hopefully redo this kind of promotion very, very soon when the world reopens. We also do, in last year and this year, the only kind of roadshows that we're able to do is to do these Macau Week roadshows within mainland China. So whenever we do a roadshow, we never forget the gastronomy angle. We bring our chefs to do food promotions together with our roadshows, and to make sure that the idea of the creative city of gastronomy continues to go out. Oh, just a little bit of clarification. When you see these kinds of icons, at the bottom of the page, these are the different kinds of goals that that particular activity touches upon, so you can have a reference for your information. There is a big food festival every year being organized in November. So a lot of local restaurants take part in it, but also there, apart from this biggest Macau Food Festival, there are smaller food festivals that happen all around Macau in different times of the year as well. Food is an idea, or food is an angle which brings people together, makes people enjoy themselves, makes people feel that the heritage or the culture is a living thing. It's not something that is only put in books or put, or being worshipped in terms of different kinds of buildings or other architecture. It is something that we actually enjoy or we live with every day. So apart from food festivals, as I said, we hosted many different world-famous gourmet presentations, including the Michelin presentation, the Asia's 50 Best Restaurants presentation, the Black Pearl Restaurant, which is a Chinese Guide Award, and then the Sea Trip Gourmet list as well. All sorts of different kinds of gourmet, international gourmet award presentations are being held in Macau. And as I said just now, the Sustainable Gastronomy Day, very important day, which we feel we want to actually celebrate with the entire world every year. This year, we launched a video, which what we call Sustainable Gastronomy Day video, preserving Macanese cuisine. And this video, very, very happily, I can report that we just won an award from the World Tourism Organization, recognizing the quality and also the messages being put forward or being promoted through this video. So we're very happy that with our celebration of this Sustainable Gastronomy Day, we're also making the word or our promotions known to different peoples apart from those who are just engaged in gastronomy. Third area of our work, of course, education and inheritance. Particularly important is trying to make sure that the heritage or the intangible heritage of the Macanese cuisine is being documented. We launched a database of Macanese cuisine. Not ourselves as the tourism office, but the education department of Macau also established a new building, a new facility called the Vocational Education Activity Center, where they have one entire floor dedicated to the promotion or the learning of gastronomy, and also I would say how to become or a good cook there. Then there are other professional programs being offered by higher education institutions. And also, as we talked about earlier, Macanese gastronomy was finally being listed as National Intangible Cultural Heritage in China. So just some little images for you to understand. So the Macanese Cuisine Database, last year we managed to launch it, and it actually comprises of physical books, a website or a database within our website. We also asked all around the world the old Macanese families to donate their manuscripts to us, their recipes, and also we made an inventory of all publications which are related to Macanese cuisine, all together within these particular database. The database is very, very important part of our culture, of our heritage, because we do feel that a lot of these families, their moms and grandmothers are pretty old already. So if we don't document their recipes, if we don't document their ideas about Macanese cuisine, these will be lost forever. So right now, we've put out the first step in terms of this kind of preservation of the Macanese cuisine database. And with that, we also set up a theme corner at the Institute for Tourism, the Institute for Tourism Training in Macau, the IFT, where you can actually go there to their library and look at the books and also look at the copies of the manuscripts as well. So it's a very interesting way for researchers, even for those who are interested to cook, to recook all those old dishes, to preserve the culture, to be able to access them. I talked about the Vocational Education Activity Center. This is a center which is built by the Education Bureau. So it's come into use since last year. So they have an international culinary zone, an entire floor. Another floor is dedicated to conventions and exhibitions. And then another floor is being dedicated to fashion and stage design. So these kinds of different areas help us in terms of making sure that where we have good facilities to preserve different parts of important aspects of Macau. As you can see in the pictures, very good areas for training of new cooks. Well, we were there just a couple of days ago. We were doing a masterclass with a very well-known chef in China, but at the same time, there was another class going on with secondary school students trying their hands at cooking different Christmas items so that they can actually go home then and cook them. As we said, besides that particular facility offered by the Education Bureau, the higher education institutes in Macau also do offer courses and programs, not only vocational training, there are also bachelor and postgraduate programs in the fields of culinary arts management and food and beverage management, as well as other kinds of certification, international certification courses, as well as other seminars and workshops. So we do offer a lot of possibilities for our locals, chefs, working chefs, or chefs or people who are studying to become chefs, so that they can also access all these particular programs. As we said, Macanese gastronomy is at our hearts, a very important part of our culture. And luckily, or I would say not luckily, but after a lot of hard work, this has also become our national intangible cultural heritage as well. Coming to exchange and cooperation, obviously, this area is an area where we are working on in terms of making sure that we are outreaching to other creative cities, not only in China, but also in different parts of the world, utilizing different programs like, say, for example, our own cultural gastronomy forum, internship programs, participation in events, as well as, also different kinds of meetings within the UCCN network. So the International Gastronomy Forum was first started in 2016 when we were preparing for the application to UNESCO. Then we held 2 other editions in 2018, 2019. Unfortunately, this has to stop now because of the pandemic, but we're looking forward to restarting that in the future when there are possibilities to do so. And as you can see, this International Gastronomy Forum provides us with a lot of possibilities to do exchanges. And we were very happy to say that in 2019, even Ms. Denise Bax, the Deputy Director, the Director General, as well as other people from UNESCO, were able to participate in our gastronomy forum back in the last couple of editions. And besides having sharing within the Creative Cities Network, we also invite very interesting speakers, both chefs as well as academia, as well as other people who are researching into that field or working in this particular field to share with us a lot of experiences. So we're seeing that this has been a very good program for many, many years. And in 2019, together with the Gastronomy Forum, we did a public show allowing our young chefs from all the creative cities of gastronomy who are able to come to go on stage to prepare a special dish of their own city and to share with the local population. This kind of program, we believe, is a very good way to help the other cities to promote themselves as well in Macau and to utilize our platform to be able to do their own dissemination. With the pandemic, unfortunately, we are not able to invite the international chefs to come in the last 2 years. But this year, we actually started with a new program during our travel fair in Macau, inviting all the creative cities of gastronomy in China to come to Macau, utilize that, and to do also public cooking demonstrations for our Macau population. Other kinds of activities which we are engaged in terms of exchange and cooperation, every year, of course not now, unfortunately, we do have an internship program for the Portuguese-speaking countries. Some of them are in Africa, some of them are, well, one of them in Asia, and then we also have Brazil as well as Portugal. For those countries, particularly in Africa, we have that program for them. So every year they can send 6 students, not necessarily students, actually, these are people already working in the field, to come to Macau and stay with us 2 weeks for internship. And we explain to them the Macanese gastronomy, Macanese culture, Macanese history as well. And we're also utilizing this kind of program to encourage them to also think about eventually candidating themselves for the UCCN big family. So that's also a way to promote the UCCN to different peoples around the world. Obviously, we ourselves do participate in many activities which are done by the creative cities. Also within the China National Commission for UNESCO, as well as we also help other candidate cities, giving them insights into how we did our application. Then many annual meetings and evaluation programs as well. Unfortunately, the last meetings of last year and this year for the cluster of gastronomy, they cannot be done physically. We can only see each other on the internet, in the screen, so to speak. But we definitely do look forward to seeing them in person anytime soon. We just hope the pandemic will be gone very, very soon. Another area for our City of Gastronomy work is the assistance that we provide to the local catering industry. So these are in terms of workshops, online learning, vocational training, as well as another program which is launched by the Economic Services and Technology Bureau, which is what we call the Distinctive Shops Program. So you see, we work with the industry to provide different kinds of training, not necessarily just in chefs or in gastronomy. So we also do collaborate with the industry to do programs like we launch an e-learning program online for sign language. So we help the industry. So it's the food and beverage or other people to be able to better communicate with all kinds of people with different kinds of necessities. So in 2019, we launched this kind of program. And also we did workshops to allow our local catering industry to understand the needs of different people, those who cannot speak, those who cannot hear, those who are, so we're also running all these programs in order to make sure that even those people who are the less fortunate people, they're able to enjoy better our services. We also definitely do a lot of other kinds of training. I've talked about the master classes before, but also we don't forget about food hygiene, food safety, environment hygiene, because this is a very important area in order to make sure that the city is sustainable. Because obviously it's not just about eating good food, it's also about making sure that the city is clean, the city is safe, and the city is enjoyable. And besides physical training, there are online training platforms. So if anybody today who are interested to access these kind of learning platforms, they are free for everybody. You can just log into our website, and you can actually get access to all these kinds of online training programs which we launch for the trade. The government, as we say, we don't need to charge because we want to be at service to our industry. So that's why all these are done free of charge for them. And besides, there are other kinds of vocational training, as you can see in the photo, learning how to do, how to brew coffee and all that. Let me talk a little bit about the Distinctive Shops program. This was launched last year by the Economic and Technology Bureau, because we do feel that we need to have a reward system for those shops which have been able to preserve their work, or who have been able to make a name for themselves, in the industry. Because we feel that by rewarding them, then they will have more impetus, or they will have more encouragement to do better in the future. So that's why the Economic and Technology Bureau launched that, and we're helping to promote that in a big way to make sure that people will understand that this is a way that the government wants to recognize and want to reward those shops that have worked together, or that have worked for Macau over so many years. And finally, in the cross-field cooperation area, I would say that within the UCCN network, one area which they're always suggesting, or they're always asking the different cities, the creative cities, to think about, is how we can utilize one field to be able to also instill creativity and work together with other different fields. So in the past years, we've tried many different kinds of projects. So we've also put food elements into the International Film Festival and Awards in Macau. For the parade every year, the Lunar New Year parade every year, we also add, gastronomy elements. We also use our tourism mascot, Mac, which is a migratory bird, also to promote the city of gastronomy, and we've actually painted them onto an aircraft as well. The Light Festival every year. We also work with National Geographic to produce what we call the Great Green Food Journey, which talks very much about sustainable our green practices in the food and beverage industry. Then we also have different areas which we utilize also, to promote cross-field, collaboration. In the International Film Festival and Awards, we tried to open one section which screens films that are related to food or has a food theme. For the Lunar New Year, celebration, the parade, we also did some floats with culinary elements. So it becomes, the food angle becomes much more visible all around the city. As talked about that, in the Air Macau aircraft, we painted actually, our mascot onto that to promote the Macau city of gastronomy. And in the Light Festival, we set up things like, food trucks and all that, to combine, media arts, a media art festival with gastronomy. As I talked about the Great Green Food Journey, which was a very big collaboration in 2019 with National Geographic, and which also helps very much to promote sustainability and sustainable practices in the food field. We have different areas in Macau, a new area being set up. It's kind of like an area which we have catering, different kinds of facilities, shops, and even other recreation matters there. And finally, this year, we also started a new event in Macau called the Light Up Drone Gala. And we also use food themes. This is a photo of one of the themes that we will be doing with our drones tonight. It is actually what we call a kind of delicacy of Macau. It's kind of like a almond pastry, very tasty and very distinct kind of pastry of Macau, which everybody likes to buy and eat and also bring back home as a souvenir. So we're also, all in all, you would see that we're trying to make sure that the word or the theme of food comes up in all kinds of different events in Macau. And talking about coming for the next 4 years, because we've just finished our first 4 years as a creative city of gastronomy. So the next 4 years, we've already submitted to UNESCO some ideas of what we will be doing in the future. In terms of our local initiatives, we are looking at education and promotion to make sure that the gastronomy culture can be handed down to future generations to make it sustainable. And secondly, we're looking at environmental initiatives to enhance the urban sustainable development. So we will be looking more in the future at preservation and also environment conservation work to be done. And also thirdly, how we should also look on the vulnerable groups to help to reduce inequality. So for the local area, we're looking at these initiatives for the next 4 years. And in terms of international initiatives, we're looking at setting up a City of Gastronomy section at our own International Travel Industry Expo, which is held every year. So we will give quite a nice location and also quite a big area to promote the cities of gastronomy if they're willing to come, or if they're willing to send their information so as we can put up, the COG section there. And secondly, also we will be going forwards to support and host different kinds of international awards to bring them to Macau, and to also make sure that they will enjoy Macau and be able to help us promote Macau. And thirdly, we will be definitely looking forward to continue to actively involve ourselves with the UCCN activities and making sure that we raise awareness of UCCN among the Portuguese-speaking communities. And as we say that, for these local initiatives in the education and promotion area, we're looking at things like skills competition to be done at the Vocational Training Center. We're looking at programs, I would say catering management training programs for our local chefs, on-the-job chefs, as well as those chefs who want to be, or those people who want to become chefs, to equip them for talents. We're looking at further enhancing the Macanese cuisine database, and maybe we would also be giving some support to publications on the theme of gastronomy. So publishing books in terms of gastronomy, particularly Macanese gastronomy. In terms of the urban environment initiative, there will be a food waste centralized treatment facility, which will be constructed in the next couple of years. So it will become a centralized food waste treatment facility to help to treat food waste and also to help in terms of recycling. And thirdly, to improve care for vulnerable groups, we have done a first study on accessible tourism facilities in Macau. So we will actually push forward with the second phase of this particular study and to outreach to different entities to work together with them to add accessible information into, or accessible practices into our restaurants and also our other kinds of, I would say, partners, particularly utilizing our quality tourism services accreditation scheme. So these are the local initiatives. Then in terms of the international initiatives, as I talked about, setting up in the Macau Travel Industry Expo, a City of Gastronomy section. If they can come, definitely we welcome them to come physically. If they cannot come because of the COVID-19 hindrance, we are also happy to help them to promote their cities in Macau utilizing this expo. We definitely love to host international gastronomic presentations because we feel that in this way, we challenge ourselves to do better and challenge ourselves to try to win awards. And with the challenges come also much better, I would say much better quality, much better practices, and much more sustainable ways to do our work. And finally, involving ourselves with the UCCN initiatives and raising their awareness in the Portuguese-speaking countries, definitely a very important area, because Macau is, for China, Macau is the bridge between China and the Portuguese-speaking countries. And so we want to extend this particular position to UCCN to help them to promote themselves towards all these Portuguese-speaking, particularly African countries, to join the network. I think that's all I'd like to talk about today. And I'd like to leave some time for questions and answers. And maybe you have some ideas that you can give to us, and we can have a very good conversation coming up. Thank you very much.